There are some things in Colorado that are timeless, changing ever so slowly. The slope of the mountains, the openness of the eastern plains, and then there are the changes that seem to race forward.
We are a state of restarts.
Elizabeth Garner is Colorado's demographer, tracking and forecasting the state's population, where change is constant.
We are changing. We've always been changing.
That's apparent in numbers provided by the Census Bureau. Back in 1960, Colorado's population stood at a little more than 1.7 million people. Today, there are just over 5 million. But looking ahead to the year 2060, the census estimates Colorado will have 7.2 million people, an additional 2 million people in less than 50 years, bringing with them a host of issues and challenges.
We have to be thinking about housing choices, services, transportation, changes in our labor force, labor relations.
It's also a population that is expected to become more diverse. In 1960, the census documented most of Colorado's population as white, a whopping 97%. Hispanics were not counted as a separate category until 10 years later. But even then, they only accounted for 10% of the population. Fast forward to the most recent numbers, where Hispanics are now 20% of the population, and there's been an increase in other minority groups. By 2060, Hispanics will make up a third of the state's population, 33%. What's behind the trend? Migration from both within the U.S. and abroad, and young people.
You would see that we are very diverse under 18 and not diverse at all over 65.
The change is obvious on a recent afternoon at the History Colorado Center, where a group of high school students from around the metro area gathered to see a new exhibit called Race, Are We So Different? It's diversity that these students say they see every day in their lives.
Schools are a lot more integrated than they used to be.
I'm not afraid to talk to different kinds of people just because I'm exposed to different kinds of people every day.
It really helps you connect with people and learn more about a person.
Still, they say, despite the diversity they see, race is something they still deal with.
There's a lot of cases where they ask you to fill out like what race you come from, and because I'm Arab, they never really have like a, let's say like a Middle Eastern or an Arab point.
Angel Dominguez says people sometimes judge him based on how he looks and what activities he participates in.
Sometimes it gets on my nerves because that's not how I want to be stereotyped.
It's students like these who will be grappling with Colorado's population changes forecast by the census when they are approaching retirement age. And age, just like race and ethnicity, will undergo a profound change here in Colorado. The number of people living here over the age of 65 will jump by 150%, all because of aging baby boomers.
Age is one of the biggest transitions that we're going to be going through over this next decade and two.
Decades that will bring great change for those who call Colorado home, both now and in the future.